A Welsh Childhood by George Truss. Dad's boat started to take shape. I was looking forward to sailing in it, but construction seemed to take ages. Weekends were his only available spare time. As a footnote, what I thought was a boat at the time turned out to be a sidecar for a motorcycle, which we used on our West Wales family holidays. Back in 1955, I remember Dad's Beezer stalling on Lower Town Hill. It proved rather difficult to restart. One of the first things I couldn't wait to do when I arrived to stay with Nana and Dada was to rush out and run across the moor. I would head off towards the Bigney, which was a World War II observation tower. I had to cross through an area of dense reeds, which, when crushed, just about kept my feet dry, pursued by a swarm of biting mosquitoes. On reaching the tower, the view over the whole area was really worth the effort. I felt invigorated. Dada showed great enthusiasm as he scraped away the sand, uncovering the cockles. Later, Nana cooked them and served them with vinegar, accompanied with a good helping of round batch loaf and butter. What a treat! As a child, I used to stay with my Nana and Dada in Dufferin during my school summer holidays. One of the many treats I remember was the scrambled eggs cooked in the cwtch on an enamel plate on the oil stove. Dada preparing the ground for the far. Far is Welsh for beans. During my summer holidays staying with Nana and Dada, one of the things I remember was the gathering in the backyard for the shelling of the far, broad beans. It always seemed quite an occasion with everybody chatting in both English and Welsh. Waving goodbye to Nana with my sandwiches in my school satchel, I was ready for my adventure. Mr. Vittle, the post, was taking me out on his round as his assistant. What a great day it was, delivering to all the farms and cottages. It must have been around 1954. The story was that an escaped prisoner had come down from London by train and gone to ground. Dada and some friends were in hot pursuit, but we never saw anybody, though the day turned into a great adventure. It must have been around 1953. Mum and Dad were living in Surrey. We were due to go down to Pembrokeshire by train. Money was tight, so Mum and I used the train. Dad followed, solo, on his Ambassador motorcycle. We were all staying with Nana and Dada in Dufferin. A few days into the holiday, Dad took me on a trip on his bike into North Pembrokeshire and Cardiganshire. It was very exciting for a young lad riding pillion on a motorcycle. The countryside was beautiful and the villages very sleepy. Many locals would sit outside their terrace houses chatting to neighbours or watching life go by. Unfortunately, Dad's bike was not the quietest of machines, making a din, popping and clattering by. Eventually, after a few miles, we arrived at a farm. During World War II, local farming communities took in service personnel from the camps in the area and provided home-cooked meals. My dad was a young Marine who benefited at the time from Welsh hospitality. This was the farm that showed him their kindness. Walking up the church path from the loco shed, Georgie struggled with his dinner, clutched in his fist. Auntie Edie waved us goodbye. Accompanied by Malcolm, my friend from Dufferin, with Peter the dog in tow, we set off for Pebbly Beach. Malcolm's granny lived on our route and we knew she was always generous with the Welsh cakes. Yum yum. Back in about 1954, I remember Dad taking Ali, my cousin and I, back to where he was stationed during World War II. The small brick barracks was still standing, though the asbestos roof had collapsed. In one corner stood a rusting old coke stove. It was all pretty basic accommodation. Around the headland in an old quarry stood the remains of the rifle range. We spent the whole afternoon searching for spent cartridges. What fun it was. As Malcolm Evans and I headed towards Pebbly Beach, we came across an old barn that was used in the past as a local cinema. Across the main entrance on a large plank of wood was the word Hippodrome. Each letter was fashioned out of pop bottle caps which had been nailed on. I recently met up with the twins from Plassey. They remember going there as kids in the 1950s. The big treat was the potato crisps with the blue bag of salt. In the mid-1950s, I was staying at Bryn Sawyer with Auntie Edie. I had arranged with Richard, an old friend from Plassey, to walk over the mountain to Pebbly Beach. When he called, off we went with lunch in my satchel. We knew the route well, passing over Pencoo and on past the railway houses, heading towards the cliff edge. We scrambled over with no fear. It was very precarious. We had a couple of hair-raising moments. Eventually we reached the bottom. It was a large stony scrub area dotted with a few young trees. If you looked carefully, you could just about make out the remains of the old World War II rifle range, which my dad used during his RM service. Further to the right of this area, the breakwater ran out from the headland. We decided to have our sandwiches on the end, so off we ran in pursuit of Peter the dog. Climbing up the cliff from Pebbly Beach was quite a trek, which gave one or two anxious moments. I remember sweating with fear on some occasions, just about clutching onto a strand of bracken. Ali, my cousin, seemed oblivious to any dangerous situations and just laughed with sheer excitement. Peter the dog just ran straight up to the top, no problem. I was very excited to catch a glimpse of Uncle Georgie on the footplate of his locomotive. He had just come up from the harbour and was stopping at Goodwick. I thought an engine driver was the most wonderful job in the world. Having spent another glorious summer holiday with Nana and Dada in Hulavelin, the time came for me to leave. Mr. Griffiths would pick me up, accompanied by Dada in his large black taxi, and take us to the Goodwick station. The steam train pulled in a cloud of white smoke, having just come up from the harbour. Waving goodbye to Dada, I was on my way clutching a jam jar full of lizards, including snake-like slowworms. Everybody in the compartment seemed a little shocked and amazed. Not the done thing in these more enlightened times. Yeah, well, there you go.
There you go.
So you've had a bit of a background to it now. You know, that's their kitchen. My grandmother's kitchen. We're doing and she's in the cooch.
Lovely.
And they tasted great, the scrambled eggs.
I bet they did. Yeah, on a big.
Yeah, just a metal plate.
Yeah.
On, because I don't think they had gas. I think it was all electric. I don't think they had gas.
Oh,
I don't think they had gas at the time.
I've got a look at the back.
You can have that one. Do you want?
I've got one.
Oh, you got one.
Yeah.